Actually, my journey started 10 years ago when my mother was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, and not realizing what the word caretaker meant was till I had to actually take care of somebody that was dear to me. I had made a pact to my mother that I would be there with her. Since she was there when I was born, I was going to be there at the end with her. With that journey in between it, I then found out that my aunt was also diagnosed with pancreatic cancer and was going to begin the journey subsequently right after Mom. By doing the word caretaker, it doesn't mean that you're hands-on as a nurse, but you're there spiritually and to listen to them and to share those last gifted times of their life. From that, I also had 7 other people in my immediate family. So in 10 years, caretaker took on a whole different type of experience because God just gave me a spiritual journey on hands-on, and that's why I wanted to share it. Yes, what happened was after my mother, it was my aunt. I had a friend of my brother-in-law, then my brother-in-law, my sister-in-law, my mother-in-law, and my last one was my father-in-law, which was last year. I consider it a gift. Not sometimes that you get a present, you don't like what's inside of it sometimes, but I feel that the experience of being there for someone as they go on to their next journey in life, I look at it as another life, a spiritual journey, that it's a gift. Basically, it started as a selfish journey. After the death of my mother and knowing I was going through some things with my aunt, I heard about the caretaker program. And I thought the more that I learned from the experts, the more maybe I could help somebody, whether it was a personal family member or a friend, whoever was going to go through this. So, like I said, it was more of a selfish journey, and the wealth of information that I gathered from the training that they give us helped me in listening skills and knowing when to maybe give a little bit of my own life experience. Wanted to share because I feel that the caretaker program, caregiver program that hospice, the training that they give you over at the care center, I went to the Port Orange Center. The individuals who train you explain all the different emotions that one goes through in the grieving process, in the day-to-day caregiving process, and also in different experiences that one goes through in the after the death experience. So, like I said, it was more selfish. I was using it at first for my own next person in my family that I had to take care of, that maybe I didn't miss everything. And it's like when you have your first child. It's kind of hit or miss. Second time, you want to be a little bit more knowledgeable and you want to know what to do. So I went to the center for the support and to learn. I think the training helped me to learn that everyone has the same feeling. Doesn't matter who you are, whether it's a parent, a spouse, a child, a friend. We're all going to go through the different stages of emotions, and they taught me that that was normal, and also how to react if I had the privilege of sitting with someone or going to see someone as I journeyed as a caretaker. In my particular case, my respite time took on different areas of venues. Let me explain to you what happened. After the 2 right in a row with my mother and my aunt, I decided that I would go out to nursing homes rather than being the care center, because their death maybe wasn't as intimate. I'm saying this wrong. And then I remember thinking to myself, you know, I'm going to do something else. I'm going to work at the care center and volunteer, whether sitting at the desk or working in the kitchen, because then that would be a respite for me to rest. I'm not at a bedside of someone who is taking their last breath. But I remember selfishly saying to somebody, why do I have to cook a meal for somebody? You know, I've already sat with somebody as they've passed on, and I felt that was more important, to be there to hold their hand. And somebody very nicely looked at me in the face and said, you might be cooking somebody's last meal. So that really put myself in place, saying that respite and working in hospice has all different avenues. Mm-hmm. I'm in one right now. I have decided to turn my journey from actually caretaking at the center, although I was at the care center last week because I have 2 people over there that are friends. I have a gentleman that I work with, his girlfriend and his mother are over there. So I lie a little bit, but I decided that I'm going to go into the special events programs, speaking in the areas, the fairs. There's so many different departments that the talented staff at a hospice does. So my respite is just putting me in a different area of not caretaking at the center, but going out to the community and telling them what a worthwhile experience the center has in all venues. The runs that they're doing, the special events they're doing, things like Christmas time, they're doing a duck walk. So there's a lot of different things that one can get involved in. So that's my respite right now.
You sure do. A lot of good activities.
I think actually the support comes in many different ways, depending on where you are in your journey. When you're going through it, it's the hug. It's coming to the house talking to you. It's the social workers helping you with the dynamics of what's going on in the home if they're at home. Afterwards, it's part of the 7 steps or so that you go through the grieving process. If you're having problems with that, there is a support team. The follow-up is phenomenal. They'll always reach out to you. Do you need help? There's support groups. There are people that will send other people who are trained to your home or ask you to come to the center. So that was very important. Whether you want it or not, it's just to know that somebody cares.
Probably extremely important at that time for you.
Absolutely. And sometimes you don't want to talk. You just want to know that somebody's there. A little hug or a gesture does help. Well, like I said, right now, at my work, I have a young man who has his sister, not his sister, his girlfriend, and his mother. And then our accountant just lost her husband last week. So no matter what I do, it's around. And a lot of times if people know that you've been a volunteer, they do ask for your help or just to listen. And I just feel that sometimes God sends things to you even if you're not looking. It's like when you look for the striped puppy. You don't want any more dogs, but they happen to happen to you. It's a gift. It's a gift to help people. It's a privilege to be there.
I'm sure you're tremendous support for them.
Well, right now, like I said, I wasn't prepared because I was going in a different direction and volunteering myself in the other committees that you can do, because not everybody wants to be at someone's bedside, but there's so many other things that this wonderful organization provides to the community. And it's just when I go one avenue, another one seems to pop up. But it's okay.
One last question.
Yes.
Strikes.
I have a few spiritual miracles that I encountered through the dying process. The 2 strongest ones were through my mother and my father. And those are the things that give me the strength to tell people you're not alone and that you're going to be guided on your journey to your next journey. And I'm going to share one with you that I shared at my dad's funeral, and I also shared it with some of the the nurses that were at my father's house with me. When my father was passing, the day that he was passing, he was perfectly fine. And I had a young woman who assisted me. My dad had Alzheimer's. And the day that my father was going to be taken by the Lord, Celeste, who was his caretaker, decided to come visit him in the afternoon. My husband and I left the house and to actually go and look for something for my dad to wear, because we knew in the next couple of weeks something would happen. And she went to my father and went to the nurses and said, "Can I just go in and see Richard?" So she snuck in his room, and she was a Christian lady, and she whispered to my father, which I found out later, "Richard, the lights in the room go towards the light. I can see it, and it's time." Well, 3 days before, I had prayed to my mother to please take my father for my birthday, which was one day before he died. And when I got home, the hospice nurses called me and said, "You've got to get home right now." And I said, "What's the matter?" They said, "We don't know what's happened, but your father is starting to die." Celeste had left. They didn't know what she said to him about the light. Didn't know that I prayed to my mother to take him for my birthday. And I got home and they said, "You got to go into him. He's starting to fail." The nurses had just dressed my dad in a Navy shirt with the American flag, because he was a World War II veteran. Put his little military hat on him. He had a baseball hat that said World War II veteran. And he was all ready to take that sailing adventure. So I helped my father. And when he was taking his last breaths, I sang the song to him that I sang at my mother's funeral. I looked at him in my arms, and all of a sudden, there was a flash on the wall of light. And my father was young again, and he just went like this and went into the light. When you have something like that happen to you, no matter what, I am a sane person. I have a mother of 5. I am no special person, but that night when I called Celeste to tell her that my father died, her first words to me were, "Are you mad at me?" And I said, "Why?" She said, "I told your father to go into the light because I saw it too." Now the nurses gathered around me and I screamed at them and I said, "He's gone." And they said, "Well, we got to check him." And I said, No, I watched him. It was just like a flashlight. It would blink, or a photo light. But when you have something like that happen to you, you can't explain it. You just know it happened. And I'm no better than anybody else, but if that experience, and I have many that I've seen, that when they pass or they start talking to people from the other side, that an aunt or a grandmother or a father, they'll start having dialogue with them and they'll actually see them. And you can see it in their faces. That's why I'm a hospice volunteer. It's a miracle. And it's something that I'll continue to do, whether it's as being with somebody as they die, or if it's in the community speaking about it, if it's doing a fair, a health fair, raising money, I'm going to still be there.